Hello, this is Bethany Jobb. This video is going to talk about my ventures into having a business of my own. This was a real learning curve for me. I did not realize all the ups and downs of having a business for your own. It had been my dream since I was young to work for myself. As I'd mentioned in a previous video, a partner and I purchased a business from the owner that had had it for many, many years. Unfortunately, we didn't do our homework very well. She had given us some financial information that was out of date, and we had asked for some more current financial information, but our lawyer, she didn't supply it, and our lawyer said that it wasn't critical. They did give us a projection of earnings for the coming year, sales revenue. Unfortunately, that is a projection, and that is never reality. So we got started into the business. I still worked at 3M, and my partner started working the business full time. And after working at 3M during the day, I would come into the business in the evening and do work. I would bring my 2 young daughters, they were quite young at the time, into the business with me, and we would do work, and my partner would go home to her family. We did start to get some new clients. My partner had built a great relationship with the landlord, and he had someone that came and collected the rent and looked after the property. And she decided that she wanted to retire. So my partner approached her about our company taking on the collection of the rent and looking after the property. They had common area washrooms that had to be cleaned on a weekly basis, and one washroom, there was a college in the front of the 22-unit complex, and there was a college in the front, so that the washroom that the college used, the students there, had to be checked every day, so the landlord would pay for having it checked and cleaned a couple hours a day. This worked to be really a great thing. It helped us increase our sales revenue. In the meantime, I'd started to do some marketing, sending out faxes to businesses in the local area. This did not produce any results, but it got me thinking about how can I market the business better. The landlord's accountant decided that it was better if the person managing the complex was an employee and not a business, not being paid through a business. So he approached my partner and said that would she work for his company, and she could still run the business with myself and just work for him on a part-time basis. After about 3 or 4 months of doing that, she decided that it would be better if she just worked for the landlord, and decided that she was going to leave the business. I foolishly agreed that she would be paid. We had bought the business from the previous owner, and she said that she should get paid half of what we paid the previous owner. The business was still not doing that well, and now that she had moved on and taken part of the revenue with her, having been hired by the landlord, I should have said no to her being paid, but for the next 3 years I paid her on a monthly basis for her share of the business that was still failing. I was lucky enough that a couple years later, after she'd gone, about 7 years into the business, my husband, who had been an owner in a fast food pizza business with another gentleman, was bought out. His health was starting to fail. He suffers from Parkinson's disease, and there was a lot of anxiousness by his partner, and a previous owner of that fast food business that they bought the business from, he was concerned with Rob's health, and so they bought him out. And then Rob had nothing to do, so he started to come into work in the business with me. For the first maybe half a year, he didn't really do too much. He was just there, and because of his health, it was good that he was close at hand. If he needed assistance, he could just call someone. But eventually he got to investigate what it was that we were doing and started to help out a lot. and realized that I wasn't charging enough for my services. So he said that we needed to approach the main client, which we still had, and tell them that we had to raise our prices. And if we didn't raise our prices, we would just let the account go. We did meet with them, and they agreed to that we needed to increase our prices. And a year or so prior to that, I'd sent a note to them and said I needed to increase the prices, but they said no, they weren't going to allow it. So thanks to my husband, the next year, approaching them in a slightly different way, they agreed that we need to be paid better. So he came and was working with us, and I had another couple that worked on a project basis, and their wife would do a project for the main client for about 8 months out of the year, and she would work on that project, and that provided a boost in revenue during those 8 months. Eventually, though, the client would bring us business and then decide that they were going to cut back, and it went back and forth and back and forth. So the revenue would be up for a while, and then it would drop down again, and then they would do another special project, and it would bump up again. And this became very nerve-wracking, and I realized that working for yourself wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, especially when you had an offline business and only one main client, which is not a good position to be in. So fortunately, my husband started to look at ways of increasing the revenue, and he started about 4.5 to 5 years ago. He went online and started checking out other opportunities to increase revenue, and I'm very grateful for that, because that's how we got to come onto the internet and check out business opportunities through the net. And this is where we are now focusing our energies on. In the meantime, our main client about 6 months ago decided that they were going to do the work that we were doing for them. They were going to do it themselves. So they gave us a notice, about a month's notice, this past April, and said that they were going to leave, going to cancel their contract, and going to do the work in-house. So this reduced our revenue dramatically. But thanks to Rob going to the internet about 4.5 years ago, we'd already looked at other ways to produce revenue for the company. So in future videos, I'm going to tell you different things we've done to increase revenue for the company and how it can benefit you, because we are now working helping people develop income online. Whether you have a business offline now or whether you just have a job, there's always opportunities to increase your revenue or increase your family income, and that's what we are now focusing on with the internet. So stay tuned, and we'll talk to you again. Have a great day.